contact information. We want to try to get to everyone tonight, but we want to make sure that we hear from all of you because your voice is very important to us, and we thank you for being here. As we have mic runners on both sides, we are going to ask that you keep your questions to 3 minutes so we can hear from as many of you as possible tonight. I will be keeping time and calling time at 3 minutes. So if you don't get all of your questions or comments in, please use this card and we will make sure that someone follows up with you. Okay? All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Justin Bibb.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start by doing some introductions of the cabinet that are here, and then we'll kick it off, okay? That sound good? All right, start you, please.
Hi, I'm Jamie DeRosa, the Director of Capital Projects.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Delonte Thomas, Chief Ethics Officer.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Warnett, Chief Innovation Technology Officer.
And I'm Bonnie Teowen. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Matt Cole. I'm the Charge Director.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Lawson, Senior Strategist with Driving Communities in the Mayor's Office.
Good evening, Sally Markham, Tool Director, Building and Housing.
Hello, I'm Mark Griffin. I'm the Law Director.
Hi, good evening. Sarah O'Keefe, Sustainability and Climate Justice Director.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Lee Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of the Police Accountability Team. We have a few more in the second row.
Paul Barrett, the CFO of the city.
Michael Mogensen, Director of the Innovation Team in the Mayor's Office.
Chris Chapin, Deputy Commissioner, EMS.
Good evening. Joe Bordeaux, Small Director of Economic Development. Good evening. I'm Angela Shue-Woodson, Executive Director of Community Relations Board.
Good evening, Tim Mappo, Judge, 2nd District Commander.
Good evening, Warren Morgan, CEO, CMSD.
Good evening, Michelle Pomerantz, Chief of Education.
Good evening, John Lear, Director of Public Works.
Wayne Drummond, Director of Public Safety.
And then we have two more very important people to acknowledge. The board chair of CMSD, Sarah Ellicott. And the illustrious councilwoman from this ward. Hello.
Hello, Lauren R. Welch, Councilwoman for Ward 3, and I also want to acknowledge your Councilman-elect, Austin Davis, who's sitting back there as well. I'm your Councilwoman, Philip Chandler, and that's your next Councilman.
Thanks so much. Well, I'm not going to talk at you too long because we want to get right to your questions, but I'm going to spend just a few minutes talking about the Building Brighter Futures Plan, what it means for CMSD and what it means for our city. Dr. Morgan to share a few quick words about that plan, and then we'll get right to your questions. I don't take lightly that as mayor, I have mayoral control and I partner with the board and the CEO as it relates to CMSD and our public schools. And we've made a lot of great progress at CMSD over the last several decades. I'm really grateful for the support of you all in this room who supported the levy last year. That levy won by the largest margin in the history of school levies in the state. We made a lot of good progress under the Cleveland plan. And some of that academic progress was delayed during the pandemic. But coming out of the pandemic, under Dr. Morgan's leadership and the board's leadership, they've recovered on some key elements of academic readiness coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. But despite that progress, for us to achieve the potential of being one of the best urban public school districts in the country, we have some hard choices to make. And there are a lot of headwinds right now facing CMSD. I want to kind of talk about those headwinds briefly. Number one, we've lost 50% of our student population over the last 2 decades inside of Cleveland Public Schools. So in the early 2000s, we had 70,000 scholars going to CMSD. Now we have roughly 35,000 students at CMSD. So we have 50% less students, but the same footprint that we had in the early 2000s. So what does that mean? Well, that means every kid who wants to maybe get Algebra 1 before they go to high school may not get that opportunity. That means in some of our high schools across the city, there may not be an option for dual enrollment for folks to get college credit before they go off to college. That means if you live on the east side and want to get an apprenticeship or be part of a trades program, you may have to take 2 or 3 buses to get to Max Hayes. And frankly, that's not fair for our children. And so we want to continue to attract and retain families to the district. We want to grow our population and grow our tax base so we can invest in better streets and roads and continue to invest in public safety and housing. We have to make sure that CMSD is prosperous, thriving, and it is our obligation as a city to ensure that regardless of where our children live, regardless of their zip code, regardless of their address, they have the skills, the opportunities, and exposure to achieve their God-given potential. And that is why the Building Brighter Futures plan is a plan that I endorse, and I'm asking for your support to endorse that plan over the next several weeks. It's up to the board of CMSD to make the final decision, but I believe the board, with Dr. Morgan's leadership, in concert with the community, because they've been listening in the community for the last 3 years about the pain points and the challenges, but also the opportunities we want to have for our young people as well too. So I'm going to let Dr. Morgan share a few words and then we'll go right to your questions. Dr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor Bibb, and good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here tonight, and I want to share a little bit about Building Brighter Futures. But before I do that, I know we've already acknowledged our board chair who is here, Sarah Ellicott. But I also want to ensure if there are any CMSD staffers, I know that we have members from central office, but if you're a school leader, an educator, a staff member, anyone who works for CMSD, if you could please stand.
Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you for being here this evening. And the reason why I wanted to start there is starting with the progress that our district has made. And I'm so proud of our scholars, but our educators who work so hard every day to ensure that we have the best system that we can provide for our scholars here in Cleveland. One of the things that you heard Mayor Bibb share is the academic progress we've had. In 2024, we reached a 3-star rating for the very first time in history. The only urban district in that year to achieve such a rating, meeting state standards. And this past year, in every single testing area, our scholars demonstrated academic growth in every single testing area, and in some cases, significant growth. We've now exceeded where we were pre-pandemic in high school English language arts, Algebra 1, and U.S. government. Our board has just instituted and charged me and everyone else in our system with goals and guardrails. And I remember when our board was on a listening tour in rooms like this last year talking about the goals that we have for our scholars. One of the goals we have is around proficiency in math. And I remember our board talking to members in the community about it, and some thought that the goals that we were setting were too ambitious for our scholars, that they were too high. Just with the progress that our scholars made last year, there was 12.3 percentage point gain in Algebra 1. We're more than halfway to the distance of a 5-year goal. Let's give our scholars a round of applause and all of our And I want to share that because it demonstrates when we set the bar high, when we have high quality programs for all of our scholars, and set the expectations high for our scholars meet it. Our educators are working hard day in and day out, either leading in the classroom, leading in schools, or supporting our students. And it demonstrates that when we set the bar high, that they can achieve. But how can we set those high expectations for all students when we don't have high quality programs in every single school? Our current reality is that 78% of our high schools offer college credit. Meaning that today, if you go to a CMSD school, it may offer college credit in the school, it may not. 59% of our high schools offer career pathways and trade programs. That means if you happen to go to a school that offers career and trade pathways, great. But if you just happen to go to a school that doesn't have it, you do not have that opportunity. 38% of our elementary schools, and we're sitting in an elementary school now, offers enrichment courses like Algebra 1, band, foreign language. Those are not luxuries. Those are courses that if you are in a suburban district or if you're in a private school district, those are courses that are afforded to you. And now only 38% of our elementary schools offer them. And then also 70% of our students are in new or upgraded buildings, which is the majority. But if you happen to be a scholar that is in a building like this one, which is a historic, beautiful building, but needs work and it's not upgraded. It doesn't have a high quality building conditions for it. So there's work we have to do to provide the brighter system for all of our scholars. Building Brighter Futures ensures that 100% of our high schools offer college credit. Next year, starting next year, should the board vote on this plan. 100% of our high schools will offer career pathways and trade programs starting next year. 100% of our elementary schools would offer those enrichment courses like Algebra 1, foreign language, band, CTE programs, which are trade and career pathway programs in the elementary schools. All that will be offered starting next year. And also with Building Brighter Futures, we have the opportunity to upgrade our facilities and provide, over time, 100% of our students the opportunity to be in an upgraded or new building. We know that we are building a new Marion Seltzer, we're building a new Building West, which won't be too far from here. And also, the board and the state approved one additional new high school, and that has been identified in this plan as a new high school for the Glenville-Collinwood community. So, Building Brighter Futures offers so many opportunities for our scholars. So we cannot provide them today, and we also do not have the operational efficiencies or the resources to provide them that today. And so, really excited for this opportunity for us to invest in our scholars and move forward with the future of our scholars.
And one more thing before we get to questions, I want to acknowledge for any families of the students who go here at Tremont Montessori, and for residents of the Tremont neighborhood, we're excited that those scholars will now go to the new Waverly building, which is a great new building. But it is our intent, our focus, and our commitment to make sure there is a community-centered process and RFP to ensure that this building has your feedback and input for what you want to see in this neighborhood. Community-centered process aligned with your values, your pain points, and your needs to reflect the needs of the Tremont community. Okay? All right, let's kick it off with some questions.
And if you are in the center of a row, if you could just step to the side so we can make sure we reach you.
Thank you. I just had a question to you, addressed it partially a moment ago. What will happen to this building when it's vacated?
Well, it's to be determined. So our goal now is to do an RFP by the end of the first quarter of next year. Before we launch the RFP, we'll have a host of community meetings to talk about what residents want to see for that building. We've done this across the city already. I'll give you a prime example. We did this in the West Park community for the old Hawthorne school. We partnered with a great community developer named Josh Rosen and his development firm. And now that building is a great building. It's retained its historical architecture and design. It's a great affordable housing for that neighborhood. And it's a good example of what can be possible for Tremont. But we want to get your input, your ideas about what you want to see for this building. And that's why we're here today. And our cabinet, in concert with CMSD, the board, will have those community conversations to get your input. Yes, yes, yes. So just like any development project, the city offers a host of incentives to ensure that we have the financing and the capital we need to make the project work. Thank you, sir. Can I get your name?
Carol Cruzak.
Hi, Carol. Great to meet you.
Can the students decide what school they want to go to, because we do have fewer,
Yeah.
and Scranton instead of going all the way to Waverly.
So as you know, CMSD is an open enrollment school choice district, and I want to have Dr. Morgan talk about how families can decide where they want to send their kids to school. Dr. Morgan.
Yeah, so we are already an open choice system, and students who live anywhere within the city and also outside of the city. There are some CMSD schools where students are coming from Ashtabula and they're attending CMSD schools. So it's great that we're an open choice system, with hence the name Metropolitan. So students can make that choice. Should the board vote on this plan, and that's, we're in the stage now of gathering the feedback and listening. It is the board's decision to vote on the plan. There will be for every merging school or every school where there's an assignment, students will have a reserved seat at that school, but they can still choose. So a good example, we're here in Tremont, and the recommendation in this plan is that students would, this school would pick up and move to the Waverly building if the board votes on this plan. And students that are currently in the Waverly building have a reserved seat to Gallagher. But families could choose, hey, I like a Montessori option. I want to go to the new Waverly Montessori. Or I want to choose any other school that's in that neighborhood. They can, but they would have a reserved seat at that Gallagher. So that's just a little bit of how the enrollment process works. And the enrollment choice window will be open should the board vote on this plan from January to February 27th.
She can go ahead. Fatima.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. What's your name?
Suzanne Meltzer,
Hi, Suzanne.
and I'm a resident of Tremont.
Yeah.
My kids have gone through the Cleveland schools. They're both now in college. My question is actually not going to be about Tremont. I'm happy that the Montessori program is staying together. A lot of the teachers that taught my kids are still here, and want to ensure that the Montessori trained teachers remain with the program through this kind of shuffling. I think that's really, really important. But my biggest question, my daughter went to the Cleveland School of Science and Medicine. She's a valedictorian there. Very, very proud of her. And
Congratulations. Wow, Mama.
She's at Columbia now, in New York. But she got a great education there, and absolutely loved the program. And I think one of the things I'm really concerned about is this merger. It seems like it's going to dilute all 4 of those programs. And right now, I think one of the things that makes it so successful is that the kids are, they're in their own high school, and they're smaller, and they hold each other accountable, and they eat together, they go to class together, they know each other intimately. And I think, I'm worried that these kids are now going to be spread throughout the whole school within each of these 4 programs, and you're going to lose that sense of community that each of those high schools have. And I just really fear for how that might fall apart.
We understand that fear, and I know the board and Dr. Morgan put preserving the school culture, that school climate for those specialized high schools at the center of that plan. So I want to have Dr. Morgan talk about what he's been doing with the board to make sure that we don't lose that school culture. So we have more young people like your daughter who be future valedictorians at that amazing high school. Dr. Morgan.
Yeah, once again echoing the congratulations. And John Hay School of Science and Medicine is an excellent school, as well as all the other programs that are part of it. All 3 of the schools on the John Hay campus were 1 5-star rated. This year went down a rating, 4.5, our college career workforce and military readiness standard. And so even with John Hay being as successful as it is and has a great track record, 40% of the class of 2024 met that college career workforce and military readiness standard because there weren't completed pathways at the school. So what this opportunity actually allows us to do is still make it a selection-based school. It will still be a selection-based school should the board vote on this plan. And now there's more opportunities and programs for students to choose from. The science and medicine track, which I think is the biomedical science pathway, will still be in existence. and students can choose that. But now the student is in the biomedical science pathway, they can choose, hey, I want to take a class this semester in architecture and design, which they don't have the opportunity to do. They can also take an IB class if they decide to do that. The International Baccalaureate program is a nationally ranked program that will only add to the repertoire of a highly selective school. And we see that model nationally ranked that can only add to our students and what they can do there. The early college model, the dual enrollment opportunities, those are all courses right now that are taught on John Hayes campus, and the students between the three schools don't have the opportunity to take advantage of that. Science and medicine offers the most AP courses we have in the district. Kids in that same building don't even have access to those courses. And so we really want to ensure more students have access to high quality. And this will be that premier high school that they can grow and learn from there. One other point I wanted to make on the science and medicine, we do know that the foundation is at science and medicine to maintain the program, maintain the partnerships, maintain the internships, and even see if it can expand to more students. So it is a great opportunity for us. I'll also say, I know some people ask, how can a principal lead so many different pathways and programs? Most high schools in the country, there are many different pathways or academies. When I was a high school principal, we had 4 different academies in my school. We had a medical academy, we had a culinary academy, we had a carpentry academy, we also had a digital arts academy. I was the principal, I had an assistant principal, and those were all different pathways that students could choose. One school, different academies. Think of it like a university. One university, many different schools, majors, and students choose.
Great, thank you so much. Next question.
Hi, Dr. Morgan and Mr. Mayor Bibb. I work here at Trinity, and I've been here 19 years in this very building. But my question for you is, some of these schools have criteria, and some of our students don't meet those criteria. How are you going to adjust these students that are you're placing in these buildings that say they have a, well, like, so Montessori? There's a criteria to be in our building. There's the steps to be here and be Montessori. So how are the children in Waverly going to be able to merge into our program and we not have a headache and all that craziness with that? Also, this is the other part. I don't know if you know, but I live in the Collinwood area. And Collinwood and Greenville has been, like, that's not, it's a bad mix. Let's just say that, it's a bad mix. I suggest, and I understand you have to close some of these buildings because the numbers are low. I suggest if we're going to make this merger and do all of this, how about you change the name now before you, so that when they come in, they're coming on a positive note. New name, new school. Not with the Glenville, Collinwood merger, because that's going to bring some bad things to the neighborhood and to the school and drama. So how about you guys come up with a new name for the school now? That way they can live up under that name and show the positivity going in for the new school year.
Dr. Morgan, you want to take that?
Yeah, well, to that latter point, great feedback, and so it's good for us to listen to you, and this is part of that process where we are listening. The board is listening. The board, not only approves the plan but also names buildings as well, and so yeah, it's great feedback on that latter point. To your earlier point, Waverly is not merging with Tremont. Tremont is picking up and moving to the Waverly building. Students at Waverly had an assigned seat at Gallagher. Now, should the families choose to go to Montessori, just like now, their kids every year, their families pick the Montessori program, they can. But we're not merging the school communities, and we did that intentionally for that very reason.
Thank you so much. Next question. Tyler, you got the next one. Can we go up here? Tyler's getting his workout today, guys.
Hello. My name is Edgar Boyle. I graduated from East Tech in 2017 as valedictorian.
Congratulations. And what did you work at Channel 19 do?
I had an internship. I work for Rocket Arena right now. I'm grade 27. I went to Ohio State on a full ride academic scholarship. So I kind of know the ins and outs of the community, school, high school kind of rivalries and beefs or whatever, first-hand experience. And one thing I would say is that moving on for the future, high schools aren't gangs. That's something that really.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
And this city is very culture coded to our high schools, and I feel like it is kind of time to let those legacies go, because we want to go to high school, not a gang, like the high schools that we see on TV or whatever, not kind of Tech versus Hollywood versus Gainesville versus that. All of these students kind of just want to come to school and make TikTok dances.
Dr. Morgan, can you give this guy a job? Thank you. Great feedback, sir. Great feedback.
Yeah, and I'll just respond quickly to that. And that, you know, just being a recent grad, one of the things I want to share to our entire community, this has been our experience too. Of course, we want to honor the culture in the neighborhoods of all the different things. And the reality of what our students are experiencing now may be different from what we experienced when we were going to school, or what it was in the past. And so my experience when I talk to a lot of students, yes, there are challenges. Yes, we had to think about safety. We had to ensure that there are that, but you're absolutely right. Our schools are not gangs. Our schools are scholars. So, like I said on Tuesday, we need to raise the expectation of the bar, because our scholars lead that. We saw with their academics are leading it with the culture. So thank you so much.
And we as the adults in the room have a responsibility to change that narrative. We got to take a lead on that. So thank you for that feedback, sir. We appreciate it. Okay. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Good evening, Mayor Bibb.
What's your name?
My name is Darlene.
Darlene, great to meet you.
It's great to meet you also. I've been waiting to meet you.
Well, I'm here. I'm here.
Praise God. I'm going to start out by first saying that I am a member of this residential area and have been for over 20 years. And I'm also a former bus driver for CMSD. And with that said, I was also injured at work, and that's why I'm disabled. I saw you speaking on the news that you were going to have this town hall this evening, and I wasn't sure of exactly what you were going to come and speak on. So I'm terribly sorry, but I need to get on topic.
That's okay.
Thank you. I am truly, truly concerned, and I want to challenge you. Me being an elderly woman, disabled, if I can go and help out the homeless that are residing over in Tremont Cemetery, a block from my house, if I can go there every day to see that these people have something, because see, I feel as if it's inhumane for you to be homeless. Matter of fact, no one should be homeless in this country that we say is the richest country in the world. And with that said, you are an elected official, just as Governor DeWine is an elected official, just as my councilwoman for Ward 14 is an elected official. I'm challenging you right now today. If I can go in pain to go help them, I'm asking you, Governor DeWine, and I can't call my councilwoman's name right now, but she is your majority whip.
Councilwoman.
That's her. That's her. I'm expecting you to do more than what you have done, which is bring a porta potty to them and a garbage can. You got to do more. You must do more. I'm praying that you do. That's why I'm here. Well, I thank you for hearing me out. Truly. And I'm done. No, take that back.
I got scared for a minute.
Sorry about that. I'm also concerned about the lights on I-90.
Traffic lights?
The traffic lights on I-90, not traffic, the street lights There are no street lights from the Lake Shore on down to Dead Man's Curve. Why? It shouldn't be.
So, Darlene, right?
Yes, Darlene.
Darlene, thank you so much for what you do to serve our homeless population, our shelter population rather, in the city. I share your frustration. I share your frustration. I've shared your frustration since I put my right hand up and took the oath of office when I was sworn in nearly 4 years ago, on January 3rd of 2022. Because I was so impatient about the red tape that exists at the federal level, the state level, and the county level, and because I believe we should be a city that that's certainly compassionate, and that we take care of our unsheltered brothers and sisters, we put a plan together to address your problem. Let me tell you what we're doing and what we intend to do for the encampment that exists in the cemetery that you mentioned. First and foremost, did you know that in Cuyahoga County, to get access to permanent housing, you have to prove you've been homeless for 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months? Did you know that? Right. Did you know that there's barrier after barrier after barrier for folks that are living on our streets to get the help they need? So we have now deployed a program called A Home for Every Neighbor, using city funding to do this. And mind you, the city of Cleveland does not have a social service budget, right? The county and the state and the federal government are responsible for administering and managing all social service programs in the entire state of Ohio. So, with this program called Home for Every Neighbor, we are guaranteeing for at least a year rent for unsheltered brothers and sisters in our city through this housing first approach. We give them, if they need drug abuse counseling, we give that to them. If they need alcohol abuse counseling, we give that to them. We partner them with resume support and job career support. We also give them free furniture from the local furniture bank. And because of this program, we have housed nearly 190 of our neighbors, our shelter neighbors, in just 1 year. Now mind you, we had a lot of encampments coming out of the pandemic because those COVID-19 subsidies went away. And as we all know in this room, housing costs continue to skyrocket. And guess what? Wages ain't going up at the same time, right? So that's what really led to many folks not being able to get good housing in our city, so they have to live on our streets, unfortunately. But this program is working. Not only have we housed nearly 190 of our neighbors, we've closed 53 encampments across all 17 wards across the city in just 1 year. Now that's great progress, but as you said, Ms. Darlene, that ain't mission accomplished. And so that encampment is a priority site for us to address. We are trying to house those residents as quickly as we possibly can. But in the meantime, until we can get them in a good home, we have to make sure they have a good place to use the restroom, that it's safe, that it's clean, and public works, public safety, public health. We have an all-government approach to address this. So mind you, I'm asking my team about this issue every single week in cabinet. I'm laser focused on it, and you have my commitment. We will get the job done for you.
Dad, tell you my name, you know my name?
Yes, sir.
But we got a question from social media from JC. She wants to know, what are you doing about the carpet case?
Oh, thank you. And then I want to have Timothy, Commander Amapo Judge, speak on this. But listen, I've been just as frustrated and pissed off as our residents about these damn carpet cases. And I will tell you this, we are deploying every resource humanly possible to deter and prevent that level of quality of life crime in our city. Under the leadership of our command staff and our chief of police, we just started a new unit called STANCE, which targets street and nuisance crimes in the city. We're also deploying new technology in a way to help us track where this is happening and make sure we have the intelligence we need in these hot spots to deter that crime in the future and prevent it in the future. We have more cameras, more lights, and we have better intelligence as well. And just recently we made some important arrests around that issue, and I want to have our commander talk about those critical arrests.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Tremont. How are you? I'm Tim Mappo. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm Tim Mappo Judd. I'm the commander of the 2nd District. And like the mayor said, that this mayor, this administration, this command staff, our men and women on the street, and our neighbors are committed to stopping this problem. This is unacceptable. I'd like to give you some numbers. First off, who knows what CPOP is? Anybody familiar with CPOP? Right? CPOP is a community problem-oriented policing. And Dr. Anderson and I have talked hours about this. Community problem-oriented policing, our city received a grant at the beginning of this year to staff neighborhood resource grant officers on each shift. And what those officers do is follow up on nuisance activity 24 hours a day, 365. So officers in every district, not just in the 2nd District, are following up on car break-ins, loud music, those nuisance crimes. Those crimes are being followed up on every neighborhood, all day, every day. Just for an example, the 2nd District, just the 2nd District alone, in Tremont, Ohio City, and Detroit Shoreway, I'll speak here because that's where we're at. We've done 3,732 follow-ups in these neighborhoods alone. Guys, that's good. We're allowed to clap for that. That's good. It's a good thing. In addition to that, we've made over 58 arrests since January 1st. That's even better. You're allowed to be happy for that. So we're not stopping. We're not sitting on our hands. We're focusing on this in a data-driven capacity. So what does that mean? We're using our data analysis. In each district as a data analysis, and we take that information and we apply our resources to those specific areas. So we follow up, we're not just guessing, we're picking the hotspot areas that these criminals are using more often, going to those neighborhoods more often, and we're putting our resources there. So we're making a significant impact when we talk about stopping this criminal activity. Like the mayor said, to piggyback, we started the street and nuisance criminal enforcement detail. So these officers are again using data, intelligence, like the mayor said, our flat cameras, our street cameras, old school detective talking to people. But technology is a huge component in that, and we've been extremely successful. In the past 5 weeks alone, 6 weeks now, we've made over 23 arrests, and like I said, 58 arrests since the beginning of the year. So that's great, thank you. So yeah, that's okay. So we're not sitting on our hands, and we'll continue to be proactive for you and make sure that our officers are in the best places possible.
Thank you, Commander.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Brian Mahoney. Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you, Brian.
Thank you very much. I got some cognitive latency problems, but I live in government housing. Nice to meet you. That's who I am. I wanted to do like a statewide ballot measure, like an initiated constitutional amendment for climate change. Like how I don't know, but I just know it's like kind of way over me. Maybe this is a better, because I need more support. I want to do because you got to get like 50% of whoever is voted governor for the ballot for signatures, 50% of the registered voters, and then there's I have to get 44 of the 88 counties, like 5,000 of each signature, and it's obviously way over my head, but I wanted to take over all the farms in Ohio. Maybe they're being taxed too much or something, and build a bunch of solar farms. You know what I mean? Like bigger than the solar farms at the Space Kennedy Center or in California. There's California solar farms, and I just wanted to be all solar farms. I know it's kind of insane for just one person to be thinking about all this stuff, but I know I need more help. But what have you done anything about right to charge laws in Cleveland, where the landlord is responsible to put up the infrastructure for charging vehicles or something?
Well, I'm not too familiar with that law, but first I want to say thank you for your passion and commitment to address climate change. We need more people like you in the city and across the state. I'm going to have our climate Director Sarah O'Keefe talk about what we're doing around solar and EV vehicles. To start, Director.
Hi Ryan, nice to meet you. I'm Sarah O'Keefe. I'm the Director for Sustainability and Climate Justice. And again, thank you for your passion. I have a business card to hand to you so we can have future conversations. We did just recently complete a climate action plan for the Cleveland community. We also have a municipal operations climate action plan. And we also have a regional climate action plan for the 5 counties. So it's not across the nation, it's not across the state, but it is 5 counties, which is a pretty good amount of progress. And a lot of voluntary actions, a lot of pathways that you can get involved in are included in those plans, and I would love to have a conversation with you. So I'm going to get this covered to you. I shouldn't have done commenting here. But just really quickly, we do have some solar projects going forward on our police districts, buildings in the city, 5 different police districts. We also have EV charging stations moving forward in a couple of different areas, so I can give you that information and we can find it online as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Director. Okay, who's next? Yes. What's your name, ma'am?
Elizabeth Cole.
Great to meet you, Ms. Colson.
You've met me all your life. You don't remember me.
You got the hat on, that's why.
That's why?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you came to my door and told me not to go through that.
I remember that now.
No.
That worked out, huh, Zach?
Damn. No.
I will introduce myself. I am Elizabeth Cole. I am the last active chairperson of citywide court order desegregation. I am a former secretary of the Cleveland Library Board, responsible for the building of the main library and renovation. I'm giving you my data because I have a statement to make about the data. I am also the former chairman of the Cleveland Writing Collaborative, the Cleveland Foundation, Math Collaborative, and I'm mostly a housewife. So that you know that I'm not talking from the position of a religious person, because I was, during desegregation, picked as the housewife to represent the community. So I spent 23 years taking care of my kids. Okay, so to do that, I also want to say that I'm going to ask you questions about the schools, but I'm not going to ask you questions about the schools from Dr. Morgan's perspective. I'm going to ask you questions about the schools from your perspective, because that's what we were taught in those 20-some years of PTA. And that is that don't talk to people who can't do anything about what you're asking. So the main question that I'm asking, because I think that all of us have class action on that issue, is that it was suggested that the city take over some of the facilities and utilize them, which sounds very good on the surface. But the problem with that is I have an $800 tax bill that I voluntarily gave myself in Mill Creek because of building schools for children. If we give you that school, then I'm paying taxes, and so I'm being not represented because you're getting the facility and I'm paying the taxes that I committed. I would never have given you money, but I gave it to the schools free. So what is going to be done to make the people whole when the schools are given away that we're still paying for it? That's question number one. Question number two is that this short period of examination after 40 years of involvement, I will tell you, is entirely too short. It is entirely too short simply because when we've done this at least 3 times before, we have gone to every school, we have did a full facility study so that we can determine what school can do what. One of the things we determined under, I think it was Samuel Campbell Parish, is that you could even turn Paul Revere into a high school because it met all of the state qualifications. The one thing about Montessori, you see, I got my shirt on because I had 7 people in this building at one time, is that if you're not curricularly aware, then you would never have put a Montessori building in Waverly. Montessori buildings depend on large unstructured spaces. They depend on the children having the ability to have their cubbies, to work both on the floor and on the table. They require, when they're instituted correctly, they require multiple age grades so that they're not one grade in one place. Waverly is not suitable. It should have, a true Montessori school should have the ability for every child to walk out their door to an outdoor space. Because part of the Montessori program is to have children work with nature as well as academic, and they must work independently. So while you are taking the Waverly School from the Waverly people who pledged, to vote for those levies, that you are not providing. You cannot. The Montessori teachers can tell you how to use that structured classroom because they're good teachers, but they cannot tell you how to fully institute the Montessori program in that structure. I would say that if I were to pick a structure, I'd pick Campus International for the central location and the structure itself. Okay, and then the last thing I have to say is, having said to you how deeply impactful I was as a single parent, I don't understand why there are no parent institutions in the school system. It says the statistics show that the single most important factor in the success of a child is legitimate parent involvement. We can't even go in the building if the principal says no. So that's the key thing.
Okay, so let me, I got a long to-do list here.
I have one more. I'm approaching dementia. No, it's not that. It's not that. Jesus Christ.
I love Jesus too.
Yes. You interrupted the thought. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because of, like I said, the parent involvement, and the other thing is that you are being fed false information. I've been with schools for 40 years. The last time we had 70,000 children in the school district was in the 90s. There was no such thing. I don't know where that statistic came from, but I know that we did not. We had 108 at the beginning of desegregation. By the 90s, we had dropped to 70%, and then ever since then, in most of the 2000s, we have solidified around 30-some thousand children, and we are on the way up. Because I think, I check that every year, and I think we had 33, and I think now we have 35. And see, when you disrupt this, you're going to have 25. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to try to hit as much as that as I possibly can, and then maybe have Dr. Morgan chime in. But the first thing I want to just chime in on to your first point is making sure we as a city, in partnership with CMSD, have an efficient and a better use of taxpayer dollars, especially given the political climate and the economic environment as it relates to our property taxes. A couple things I want to mention to that, related to that point. Number one, let's say we didn't do anything, okay? We would continue to lose student population in the district, and we would also continue to have to go back to the voters to increase taxes, to invest in new and these old buildings to keep our existing footprint with a lower student population, right? And basic management, basic economics tells us that that's not a good use of our taxpayer dollars. So here's what we're trying to do instead. Number one, through this plan, we believe we can save roughly $150 million over the next 4 years and take that money and invest in better education for our scholars, but also make sure we have the right investments to those new and existing buildings inside the district to make sure that you as a hard-working taxpayer get the right return on your investment. Now, the second thing I also want to mention is we're going to have 18 buildings rather, that we have a strategy for that fits the broader needs of the city, but also the unique needs of those neighborhoods like Tremont, where we're at here this evening. And having a game plan for those buildings will make those neighborhoods better, grow the population, grow our tax base, and make them more vibrant. For example, the project that we are doing in the Lee Harbor neighborhood with the old JFK High School. We work with residents, the local CDC, and clergy, and other grassroots leaders to make sure that we had a game plan for that new site to bring more revenue, bring more jobs, and bring more opportunity to the Lee Harbor neighborhood in the southeast side. Now, second, to your point, it is so important that we listen to our residents, that we listen to our scholars, and that we listen to the community as it relates to this plan. Myself, as the mayor, I did an entire listening tour after I got elected, talking about the future of education. And the biggest pain points that the voters across the city told me we had to address was, number one, how do we make sure that there is broad-based equity in all of our schools, regardless of where you live? I believe the Building Brighter Futures plan does that. The second thing that the voters asked for was, how do we make sure that not only do we have college and career programs in every school, despite where it may be, how do we do that? The Building Brighter Futures plan is going to make sure that regardless of where that school is, 100% of our high schools will have college and career prep. And the third thing, but the most important thing residents told us during that listening tour was safety, safety, safety. And safety has been at the core of how the board, with Dr. Morgan's leadership and my team, have been thinking about and planning for the Building Brighter Futures plan. When we had a tragic shooting at John Adams High School and a young person lost their life, for the first time ever, we created an intergovernmental cabinet between CMSD, my cabinet at City Hall, Cleveland Police, CMSD Police, and RTA to coordinate what are we doing to make sure young people have a safe passage to school, safe in the building, and safe when they leave. Or like we did last summer, making sure we touch 11,000 young people to keep them off the streets during the summer months. So I hear you. And in addition to my listening tour, when Dr. Morgan took the job, he did a listening tour. When our board chair became board chair, the board did a listening tour. And we've had numerous community conversations across the entire city before the Building Brighter Futures plan was created. And so we can always get better. And that's my commitment to you, to make sure we're always getting better. But I believe this plan reflects the values and the needs of what our residents have demanded when it comes to public education.
I'm going to say, which I normally would not say, I wholeheartedly disagree.
That's okay. Thank you for your passion. Dr. Moore, you want to add anything to that?
The only thing I would add would be on the parent ambassador. I heard your feedback, and always thank you for your leadership and your feedback. I know that you not only a champion for education and advocate for education, not only now but through the years. So appreciate your leadership, as well as members of your family, their leadership in education. We do have parent ambassadors in our building. Every building has a parent ambassador rep that supports our families with not only understanding the different options, but also sits on a parent advisory council that's led by our family and community engagement team that is under our external affairs office that Chief Farmer Cole leads. But definitely hear your feedback. And on a lot of those points, I was really just taking the notes really around feedback, around even engagement, thinking about the Montessori education requirements and the things that should the board vote on this plan that we would have to really think to make sure we can continue to make sure it's a high quality program. Our team feels it's really important that we have quality options still within the system, which is why our specialty models, it's a big part something that we're preserving in this recommendation, even though there's still some areas we need to improve with it. So it was really important that we set Montessori options. And in this recommendation, both buildings, Montessori buildings, are actually getting a new building in this recommendation should the board vote on it. So just wanted to respond to a couple of those things. We could talk offline board. The other thing I just wanted to mention, speaking of board, I know you guys all got a chance to meet our board chair, Sarah Ellicott. I think I saw one other board member here who's also a CMSD parent and alum, Jerry Billups, if you want to raise your hand to here.
Good evening. My name is Mike Brecker. My wife and I live in Tremont. We walk by this building literally every day.
Yeah.
It's a significant footprint and prominent location in Tremont. And my question is about, you mentioned an RFP and the determination of what's going to happen with the property. But I wanted to just express concern that it may take a long time to convert the property. And the buildings that sit empty tend to degrade very quickly, and they also are subjected to vandalism and so forth. So just the degradation of the property, whether it's going to be refurbished or torn down, but is there a definitive timetable for the transition? I know there's feedback and determination of what's going to happen, but is in the plan timetable? I'd hate to see it sitting here for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years empty because of the location and how prominent it is in the neighborhood.
I'm going to have our Director of Capital Projects talk in detail about how the city partners with CMSD on redeveloping or repurposing some of these assets and the timeline that it takes to address your concern. Jamie?
So you are absolutely right. Sometimes when a building sits too long in the neighborhood, it really has a negative impact on the neighborhood. And so we are laser focused on making sure that we partner with CMSD to work hard to find the end user after community engagement and move through that process quickly. And so we're already working on the RFP format. We're already thinking about when we can engage with the public. And then we will work hard to select a developer. We're assuming it would be for historic redevelopment. Who knows what the proposals might actually be. To move through that process quickly. And like the mayor said, really work through our Department of Economic Development to offer the incentives to help build the capital stack that's going to be needed for that development. Because it all comes down to how quickly can the developer put together the money that's needed for the full renovation. But in the meantime, we'll be working with CMSD either to maintain the property, keep it secure, or if the city takes title to it, then we would be doing that ourselves. But we completely understand the concerns, and that's why we're already starting to work through that process.
Thank you, sir.
Does that? Typically, it's going to take about 2 years. I mean, that's, we 2 years for the start of construction, and then, could be, a year to 18 months for the construction. So it is a bit of time, but we're going to stay focused on making sure the property is secure and safe.
And the RFP will be released at the end of the first quarter of next year.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Where am I going? Sorry.
How you doing today? My name is Al Muhammad. How's it going there? Good. I have a question. I just relocated to the Ohio City neighborhood. It'll actually be a month Friday. And unfortunately, I suffered from my car being vandalized on Whole Street. And my question to you is, we have an idea as to who's creating these crimes, but how do we create a path to hold the parents accountable for these children that continue to cause so much violence and nuisance crimes throughout the city?
We know that our parents have to be a part of the solution and partner with us to make sure we can, with compassion, hold these juveniles accountable for the street crime and nuisance crime in the city. Already, my command staff have met with the administrative judge at the juvenile court, Judge O'Malley, and for the first time in the city's history, we now have a deep collaborative partnership on criteria, how we work together around what's the criteria, tracking what's happening, getting good intelligence, and really focusing on getting to the root causes of what's happening, right? So I want to have our commander really talk more in detail about what we've done already with juvenile court and the progress that's made. Commander?
Yes, sir. So since the beginning of 2025, we've met with juvenile court and we said we need to do something better. This isn't working. So what we came up with was an effort where every juvenile arrested for a gun, breaking into a car, or stealing a car is ankle monitored. Not only that, the next day they're arraigned and then offered social services with their parent or family, to the mayor's point, when we get to that underlying cause. If we just make arrests, we make arrests, but we need to stop it before it starts, and that's really the effort that we wanted to do. So to the mayor's point, again, we met with the juvenile court judges and again said, hey, this is since January 1st, something else isn't working. We need to hold more accountability to the parents as well. So what we've done is instructed our officers as a command staff, every juvenile arrested is curfewed, so that the parents are also held accountable for their child's activity. So whatever that looks like in the court, they work it out with the court, they're also held responsible. We did come up with a different plan. The juvenile judges decided that every juvenile arrested for a motor vehicle break-in will be taken into the DH instead of just ankle monitored, because we realized this isn't working as well, and they were very appreciative of that conversation, and we came up with a different plan. And already it seems that this new STAMP unit, those underlying issues that we're addressing with the juveniles are going to work in the future.
Great, thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Lola, and I go to a charter school, and I want to talk about the school lunches. Me personally, I don't eat the school lunches because the school lunches just don't taste good to me, and I want to know why do we get such lunches as this, but if you go to a public school, you see their lunches is way better, or a public or private school.
Michelle, you want to take that one?
Sure. Thank you for your question.
That's the best question all day, by the way.
We would welcome you to come to a public school where you have an even better lunch. But I also want you to know that a lot of times school lunches are depending on school management and things. That's one of the reasons why I think CMSD in the last few years have tried to go towards that fresh fruit, fresh produce method. But I would love to meet with you before the end of this to find out what school you're at and find ways that you and I can talk to your school leaders to help improve on some of those questions. And I also want to applaud you for taking the microphone and advocating for something that's really important.
I also wanted to say thank you for listening to her. This is my daughter. I wanted to agree with Mr. Austin, man right here, when he said that it takes a family. It takes everyone in here to expect the unexpected, meaning if you want to change, it has to start at home. I understand everyone has concerns, and I was at the other town hall you were at the Glenville, Collinwood, and everyone had a lot to say. I didn't get a chance to say much, but I wanted to agree with saying that you came into something unexpected, and you're now trying to turn it around, and it's difficult. But at the same time, we're going to stand with you, and I just want to say thank you so much for listening.
Mr. Mayor, we have another social media question from Lauren, and she wants, what's the update on Parks and Rec's master plan?
Is Director Alex Nichols here? Let's talk about the updated Parks and Rec master plan. Our brand new Director of Parks and Rec.
Thank you. I appreciate I appreciate that education is important, but Parks and Recreation is important just as much. What we try to do is provide activities and services for the families, for the youth, for the seniors, for the whole family, out of school time, out of work time. In April of 25, the City Planning Commission adopted the first Parks and Recreation Master Plan. This is a 15-year master plan, and our goal is to improve the quality of facilities, the quality of programs, and to communicate better what we're doing to the community.
For the first time this fall, we produced a recreation program catalog. We haven't done that in recreation, I don't believe, since the 90s. We are focusing on improving the quality of our parks, our playgrounds. I've been working with the advocates at Lincoln Park and many of the other parks, and what we're really trying to do is to ensure that we do have high-quality facilities, because nobody wants to go to a park with a broken swing set. Nobody wants to go sit on a broken bench. Nobody wants to go swimming in a pool that has poor water quality. So we are building our department. We just hired an urban enforcement commissioner. We hired a new deputy commissioner of aquatics. And bear with us as we do some cleanup, but we do intend to continue to expand services and improve services. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Superintendent, thank you. My name is Sal Rosenstein. I'm a 20-plus year resident of Fremont. I'm also a community organizer with Fremont West Development. As the distinguished woman who spoke earlier said, this is at least the third time, maybe fourth even, since 2002 that we've gone through this process, and the residents have rallied on behalf of Fremont School. The first time is what brought the Montessori here, because we wanted the school kept in the neighborhood. The second time, there was some ideas that there was going to be renovation, there was going to be some state money. We were down on the list, but it happened. I think the state money went away and it never happened. So now we're back here. I understand what you're saying about declining enrollment, and those are things, yes, that you have to deal with. Please understand that many people in this neighborhood are very much attached to this school. It has a lot of history for people. It's at the heart of our neighborhood. Yes, we have some other schools. They do great work. We want to be supportive of them as well. I think many of our residents would like to see a school remain, hopefully the Montessori, but a school remain on this site. That would be our top preference. And that the building would be renovated, and that they would have good facilities to go to school in. Our second thought is, if that doesn't happen, that there is a community process, which you spoke to, Mr. Mayor, about allowing residents and parents and students to have some impact in what will happen on this site. And there will hopefully be something good for the community and not solely just a developer putting in new townhouses or whatever. As important as those things are, there's things the community needs as well that may not be able to access those.
Thank you for your feedback. Spot on feedback. I want to have Dr. Morgan just, because you haven't talked about this quite yet, kind of the inputs that went into how you and the board have been thinking about building brighter futures so that you have context. Because a lot goes into determining what school building to put more money into it, especially for an older, aging building like this important community asset that you have here. Dr. Morgan.
Yeah, definitely. I'll share some of the data that we use when, the inputs into our recommendation. And the mayor talked about some of the things from the listening tour that we heard from the community that was important, but I also want to talk to you about some of the hard facts that we use when putting together a recommendation. But before I do that, I also know that this community, you mentioned there's a history of what was going to happen with this building and maybe a new building, all of those different things. And I know that with this recommendation, it's not a renovated building here. I am happy that with the recommendation, we can give the scholars in this building, as well as when I think about Stonebrook White, a better quality building. When I was a network leader many years ago working for the district, Michael R. White was one of my schools. And I remember being in those community meetings with Councilman Conwell, and we were actually advocating for some change there. And afterwards, I left it to become a Montessori school, and so really excited about that. But then also knew then, I remember walking with our Chief Operations Officer, Pat Don, just saying the kids deserve a better facility. And so not everything is perfect with the recommendation. It doesn't meet all the needs, but I'm so thrilled that our scholars in both Montessori programs with this recommendation should the board vote could have the opportunity to have a higher quality facility to match the education they have. Really quickly on some of the data points, I know Chief Pomerantz wants to share something as well. There were 4 primary data points that we used. We looked at enrollment trend, we looked at building conditions, like, it's a facility quality, how much it would take to actually renovate if you could do it, and then also building size. Because when thinking about that healthy enrollment we want in schools to have, the amount of programs we want to add, that the Brighter Future part that we talked about, we need about 450 in our elementary schools and about 500 or more in our high schools. Currently, 11 of 61 CMSD elementary schools have 450 or more students, and only 3 of 27 CMSD high schools have 500 or more. So that just shows you how our resources are spreading thin, and when they're spread thin, we can't offer the opportunities and programs. I will also say, when it comes to Montessori specifically, when it comes to enrollment trend and enrollment, those were areas that our Montessori programs are actually struggling with. The enrollment is down in both of our Montessori schools, and the enrollment trend is actually going down. Families are not choosing this. There was a theory in terms of feedback we heard, maybe the building quality, was one of the things. And if families saw a better facility in building, this may be an option to choose, which is why in the recommendation, it's an investment that we're thinking through. But it's also something that we will continue to monitor over the years, because we have to think about that enrollment trend to sustain the program over time.
I just wanted to mention, I think I've met you a few times. This school is where I first started my teaching career in 1990. And at the time, the Berlin Wall had just ended. I look young, but I was a child teacher. And I was in room 202. And Gallagher, and then over to the Tividasagan Newcomers School. And so through the transition and the global changes that have happened, Fremont was always that welcoming space. I also had the opportunity to sit and listen to a lot of the changes over the years on what we wanted for this special building. And it caused me a lot of mixed emotions when I worked at the district side to see this building. It was going to be part of segment 6 or 5, and then working with the Corey Reedy at that, and then to transition to the strong leadership of Principal Celeste and maintaining the Montessori identity. And so as somebody that has been able to kind of see through all the process and pain, I don't want there to be any misconception on where this building goes and how this building is used or reused, if the board determines this is something that they want to choose to do. But as an organizer to organizer, how we make sure that we continue with the good concepts of that Tremont welcoming space to be considered wherever students come and go. And I'm just honored to be in this space to continue to listen to that conversation and to hopefully help in some way.
Thank you, Michelle, so much. All right, Tyler, you got a question from on the line. When are we going to have equity with funding for public schools? What is your commitment to ensuring public dollars stay in public means? Arena, sorry. Well, my commitment is to whoever I can to make sure we're investing in public schools here in Cleveland. I'm going to continue to work with our state delegation and state house to fight for fair funding. That's why we got to vote more in elections. As I often say, there is no such thing as an off-year election. So if you want more political power in Columbus, you got to vote, y'all, every single year. That's my commitment. Thank you. Hey, Sabrina. How you doing?
You wrong. So I'm not going to talk about Montessori school. I'm going to talk about Louise May Alcott, because you know I was coming for that. So Louise May Alcott, if you know where it's located, it's off on the cut, off of Clifton. It's the only CMSD building in that whole neighborhood, and you guys are closing it. It has heat, it has AC. It is not tore up from the floor, and it's not old. But we're closing it most likely because of attendance. However, that community has 114 students that should be in the building. And they don't go to that building because a lot of the parents and students talk about safety. Now, where you at? Okay, so he ain't here. So CMSD has a chief, and we have been going back and forth regarding safety in the building. And when I reached out to CPD, they had no problem. It was all for going to help. But CMSD was like, no, we don't want them interacting with our students. They're already afraid. No. If kids are afraid and want to go to school, then the district's policing needs to be more open. I don't know when they decided it was going to be open, but mayor and CEO, they weren't open. I got the emails. You know, I'm an emailer. They weren't open to that. So that's a problem. The other issue is that building is a smaller cut building. All 6 of my children went there. There's an age gap of 17 years. So apparently we like it. The issue is people send their kids there because they can't handle K through 8. None of your plans have smaller footprints for students who are not prepared for K through 8. And we're going to push and force them into a setting that they emotionally can't handle. What are you guys doing for that? And again, the building's not till it's fuller.
Yeah. I'll have Dr. Morgan talk about the specifics of Wisdom and Alcott, but I will say this. I know that my command staff and chief are open and welcome to any collaboration when it comes to public safety. And so if that's not happening, trust me, I will hold those folks. So Dr. Morgan, I'm passing it to you on that one.
Yeah, and it's great to see you, Ms. Otis. I know I owed you a message, and I always appreciate your advocacy, and not only just in all of our schools, but in that community. I know you walk those neighborhoods, you know St. Passage, you know that school well, and we talk about it all. So I always just appreciate you and everything you bring with that. I'll also follow up with you on, it sounds like a concern or issue you have with our police department, so I'll follow up with you on that. One thing I wanted to mention when it comes to Alcott with this recommendation, we do know, you are right, the building is not the highest quality building condition, but it's not one like you said is in terrible shape. The enrollment and enrollment trends, when we talked about those primary data points, are lower. The enrollment trend has been going lower. And one of the things we saw in our data analysis was that the majority of last year's 5th grade class, when they chose a 6th grade, they went together. So a lot of families are choosing that environment that is nearby, a brand new building. And that was one of the things that informed what we thought could be an environment where they go, should the board vote on that? Because we were using data to look at that. I know that Alcott is a very special place. I remember when I went to visit it for the first time when I became CEO, and I didn't even realize I was still in Cleveland, because you almost feel like you're in Lakewood when you're up there. So it is a very beautiful community, but I did want to let you know a lot of families, when they leave there in 5th grade and going to 6th grade, they're choosing that neighborhood. Also, in due time, there will be another new facility not too far from there as well, in the new Marion Seltzer. And those students right now are in the swing space at H. Barbara Booker at 65th, West 65th and Lorraine. But there will also be a brand new building up there. So I know that sounds satisfying to your answer, but that's what went behind the thought there. I know there's a family meeting there tonight, which I thought that's where you were going to be, and I was going to text you like, I'm not going to be there. So I'm glad I get a chance to see you tonight. I was like, I'm going to be here at this town hall, but I'm glad that we get a chance to interact and talk, and we'll talk afterwards just to hear any more of your feedback. Also, just a reminder, the board will vote. The board is taking in all the input, receiving all the data at this point, and the board will make the decision based on its recommendation.
Commander?
Hello, ma'am. I know we know each other as well, so just to briefly comment on safety. We do work well with Chief Dotson, and the Chief is committed to that and his command staff. Sometimes I know last week I talked to Chief Dotson more than I think I talked to my own family. So we do talk a lot together, everything from traffic plans. I know there's an issue going in and out of school. The ingress and egress is sometimes a challenge. We've done everything from traffic plans to a staff member being in a car accident. So we do take safety very seriously. As a former educator, I taught 6th grade before I was a police officer. So, no, not here. But I was a school teacher, I was a middle school teacher, 4th through 9th. So I do understand the importance of safety, and children feeling safe means they're gonna more likely to learn. So we are committed to that.
Great. We got another online question from Mary Martin. The question is, can we get speed bumps on Fairhill to control street takeovers? Also speed bumps between Abbey and Fairfield. Matt Moss, you want to take this one?
Absolutely. Yeah, speed tables. I love speed tables. I talked to Austin a lot about speed tables, and I know he spoke a lot about speed tables as well in this neighborhood and others. We do dozens of traffic and speed counts citywide. We get these requests often. It's really great to see how popular they are. I'll take a look at those locations specifically. If we haven't counted them, we'll get on it. We'll count them. We're targeting right now neighborhood streets that are within a certain volume and within a certain speed. And that's so we can be equitable in terms of where we're seeing data-driven identified problems with speeding. But I'll take a look at those locations, and I'd be happy to talk to that resident and follow up. And we're always looking to put more out, so let your council people know funding speed tables is important to you, and with the mayor's support, we're doing as many as we can.
Okay, we got time for a few more questions. Tyler?
Hello, my name is Mary McDonald Krupa. I'm a retired teacher from here. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for acknowledging the hard work of the staff, the students, and the community to get that national accreditation for Montessori. I don't think people know how hard it is. Very, very few in the whole United States get that accreditation. And Principal Celeste was the leader.
We got a great principal.
But, you know, for this staff and these children and the community to come together to get that was amazing. So thank you for that. I do have some concerns because you know what? Tremont embraced us. Like, we love Tremont. And my own daughter moved here because she used to help me in my classroom. She's like, I love that community. I wish we could roll back time and get that new building or get this building to a place where it could be safe and usable for children. That would be wonderful. It's unfortunate that didn't happen. So my other concern is, one of the reasons you're closing it is radon. Now, what happens, because my understanding is that all CMSD schools have to be offered to charters first. Is that changed? Has that been changed?
No, that's state law. I want to have Dr. Morgan talk about radon. You want to talk about that?
Well, there's a second part of this.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
So if it's going to go to a charter school, you know, they're going to have to do some renovations too. Whatever they find behind the wall, how are you going to archive that evidence for, you know, because there might be health concerns down the line.
Yeah.
So I am concerned about the children that I had in my classroom. I'm also concerned about my fellow staff members. So what are you going to do to address that if they find something behind the wall?
Yeah, well, the reason why we're being aggressive in this RFP process is to prevent this building going to a charter. That's why we're working right now quickly to get the RFP out and get a selected community-based partner that the community wants to help us redevelop this legacy historical site in the Tremont neighborhood. I'm going to have Dr. Margolius talk about the health issues. Radon. I wasn't expecting that.
So, yeah, me neither. So when I started 2022, it was one of the first calls I got was about the radon concern in this building. It turns out that radon is in 1 out of 4 buildings in the Northeast Ohio, and it's the #2 cause of lung cancer in the world after smoking. The good news is it's very easy to deal with radon once you do test for it and identify it. And in the case of the Tremont School, the team was on it, identified the room in the basement where the levels were high, and it has been addressed. But this is a good PSA for all of you to test your basements for radon. Whatever happens with this building, I know that the capital projects team very used to dealing with a number of environmental hazards that we have here in Cleveland, including asbestos and lead, and they have a whole process to make sure everything is done right.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mrs. Kane. I have had the opportunity to teach science at Collinwood High School for the past 4 years. I am also a graduate of Cleveland Schools. I went to Jane Addams Business Career Center, and I graduated in 2002. Yay! And today, I would like to clear up some things that I have heard Dr. Morgan misspeak and misinform. I don't want to be disrespectful, but blankly lied to Mayor Bibb, the Board of Education, and the community of Cleveland concerning his statement that Collinwood has 0 college and career readiness programs. That is not true. This statement is erroneous and not correct. You have not done your homework, Dr. Morgan. I am here to set the record straight and to tell the truth. Collinwood High School has surmountable career and college readiness programs that have been initiated, supported, and guided by Collinwood's principal Mary Miller and Harry Blackwood. Outside of College Now and the Say Yes program that the district provides for every school of Cleveland, Collinwood has 8 programs that they have built and operated on their own with no help or support or even acknowledgement from the district. Those 8 programs consist of Health Career Academy, Magnet Work Study, where students leave school and work a half a day, Upward Bound, Trio, After School All-Stars, Railroaders on the Move, and Robotics, which is a partnership. Robotics is a partnership between Collinwood and Tri-C that, may I add, Principal Miller introduced to the Science and Math Department that I actually facilitate to this day. And I tell you, it is a lot of hard work. Tri-C comes to the school with special equipment every Tuesday for our Collinwood students. This program teaches them to code and build and operate robots by way of technology. That program has been running for some time now. Not only does that program host all of our 9th grade science students, all of our 9th graders are and will be college students of Tri-C despite their current academics and behavior. Why? Because we want to expose them to higher learning experience and diversity. We want to provoke them to greater works. We are the only school that allows all of our freshmen to begin their high school years as college students without requirements. The only requirement is that they have to show up to Collinwood every day. This spring, those same students will be working with Case Western Reserve to build a robotic jet, which is also a college-ready now program. So that is a total of 10, may I add, career and college readiness programs. You said numerous times Collinwood has 0 college, career, and readiness programs at the board meeting on November the 4th and at the Townhall meeting that took place on Tuesday, November the 11th. But it is a total of 10. And again, I'm going to say this, that Ms. Miller and Harry Blackwood have supported, and the teachers of Collinwood have grown and facilitated those programs. Collinwood has done a tremendous job with building our scholars up for the real world and getting them ready for careers in college. I would really appreciate, because I facilitate the robotics program and I put lead work into that. I contact each one of those parents by hand, by phone, every single day, trying to work with them to get them to understand that our kids, they need this college ready now program. I do that. And it's a lot of hard work, and nobody supports from the district supports me, only but my principals. And I just want to say that. So, I would appreciate if you stop speaking without fact checking. This information was not sought out, nor did you care to find out the truth. You are trying to make your agenda make sense when in fact you haven't really tried to help our scholars. It is a harmful agenda that you are trying to push. And if you carelessly didn't look for the information before you publicly broadcasted it, then my question is why? Because you hid this information from there, be it the board and the community. As a CMSD educator, I am truly disgusted and baffled by such accusations and wanted to know why that statement of us not having 0 college and career readiness program was mentioned when it was not true. And my other question is, if you get this information, what else are you hiding to make sure your agenda is fulfilled?
Thank you.
Please, if I have time to ask this, what is Plan B if parents do not choose to travel to the new locations, and what will happen to the staff and teachers?
Thank you, ma'am, for your passion and your commitment for all that you do to support our current students at Collinwood. I know it means the world to me as mayor. It means the world to our board and our board chair, and the world to Dr. Morgan. Let me be very clear about something. Very clear. My only agenda is Cleveland's kids. I don't have any other agenda but Cleveland's kids. My only agenda is making sure, regardless if you in Collinwood or West Park, you have the same equitable access to public education based on your own needs. Now, it'd be easy to say, you know what? Let's continue to live with the status quo. Let's do it. Let's do it. And then what's going to happen? State take over? Millions and millions and millions of dollars of being in the red and a deficit, losing more families to our suburban peers, declining tax base in the urban core of our city, and more sprawl, which undermines our city's long-term future. And I refuse to enact and continue with the status quo. And so Dr. Morgan will clear up some of the facts, and if we have said anything to offend you or undermine your hard work, I sincerely apologize if we did that. And I want to have Dr. Morgan really talk about the
Let him answer the question. Let him answer the question.
Well, first of all, fellow science teachers, so high school science teachers, great to connect with you, and also two classmates, so great to see you classmates, yes. So a few things I wanted to share. It is true, there are 0, and when I say that, state approved. The issue we have in our city is we have many programs that our kids get a chance to participate in. I'm glad we have robotics, and thank you for your hard work, that's great. That's not a state-approved pathway. We don't have a state-approved pathway, hence, I'm sure we could pull the CCWMR metric that our kids in Collinwood have. You will see what the state-approved percentage was. As a district, we were at 36%. John Hay, science and medicine, was at 40%. And that's one of our highest performing schools. So just because students are doing all the programs at listed, great. I want to ensure they can continue to do those. Those aren't state-approved pathways. To be state-approved in college credit, when it comes to the way the state is looking at for CCWMR, you need to take 3 AP classes and get a 3 or better on those. I don't know if Collinwood even has AP courses. You also need to take 12 credits of college readiness courses. Now, I do know we have High Tech Academy, which students can go to Tri-C, and that's all students in our city have the opportunity to do that. So that is a program, but when we're talking about in the school, because right now, if you want to take college credit, you got to leave to go to Tri-C. Not all students have that luxury or have the condition to do that. It should be, as you said, when they show up to school, just because they show up to Collinwood, they have that opportunity. So but state-approved programs. So I appreciate the programs. Well, one of the things when I say level up, that's one of our themes for this year. We need to ensure that we're giving those programs where students have access in their school. And most of our schools do not have that opportunity to do that. And so there's an opportunity for us to level the bar. There's no need for me to broadcast an agenda. We want to ensure high quality for all kids. Like I said, I do this work for kids like me. So I want to ensure that kids have the opportunity. When I talked about, on Tuesday I got a chance to talk about this, I had the opportunity to take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, which gave me the opportunity to take calculus my senior year of high school, AP course. I want to ensure that students have those opportunities. I had a chance to be an all-state musician by playing in the band starting in 5th grade. Many of our kids don't even have that opportunity to do that. Some of them do. I know Tremont's one of the ones that did. I played my tuba with some good scholars, Principal Celeste. But not all of our kids do. So let's level up, let's raise the standard. I'm glad the robotics program is here. I'm glad the students get a chance to go I'm glad they get a chance to go to Case Western. Those are great opportunities. And when we think about how many kids are actually going to college, and we are persisting in college, even with all the support we have, if they have scholarships, it is persistently low. So I just say for all of us, not only within the system, but in this community, it's time for us to raise the bar, level up for all of our students. It's not a state approved program.
Okay, but it is
It's a support. It's a support
program, but
it's not a state approved.
It was never state approved.
We got time for one more question.
2 for 1 special here. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Mr. CEO, Dr. Stone. I have more to say than a question. In the last meeting of the dinosaurs and dinosaurs voted not to change. And we know what happened in the end, they were extinct. So I want to commend you. I worked for CMSD for 9 years in multiple buildings, and I want to commend you for taking hard action on this because we kicked the can down the road a long time and did nothing. When I taught in CMSD, I'm gonna be honest, I would not send my child to CMSD schools. Not because I'm not a quality teacher, but because how we schedule our students. The school that I worked at, I was the only certified middle school teacher for almost 2 years because we did not have any substitutes. It is hard, but you are making hard choices, and you're doing the right thing for black and brown children. And I, for one, appreciate it.
Thank
I
God.
appreciate that the same education that they get at Wilbur Wright, they will get over at Hollywood. I appreciate that. I appreciate that they're able to have an AP class on the east side because we don't have a lot of them. And as long as they were cherry picking under Eric Gordon, it was okay. And as long as black and brown children were the ones that were not being educated, that was okay. But now that you're leveling the playing field, we're saying it's a problem. And that is a problem. And that's where I stand. I stood behind you at Mount Sinai, and I stand with you today. Keep doing the good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Al Shivers. I went to Glenville, graduated in 1975. And when I went there, we had college prep classes, we had business classes in there, we had auto mechanics, we had technical classes. The problem that you have right now with our school system, Honorable Mayor, is you inherited. And I commend you for getting there, shaking things up, making it right. Now we put you in as mayor. It's our job today to support your decision.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to thank everybody for being here. It was an engaging conversation. Please stay tuned about all the positive updates around building brighter futures. Give yourself a round of applause. This is what democracy looks like. This is what a thriving city looks like. And I'm so grateful for y'all taking the time. Take care now. Oh, Sarah, where do they put the cards?
You can put them on the back table where Abby is standing up, and that's blue blazer. That table, blue blazer, Abby will take your card. Thank you.